So today we're going to talk about a totally different kind of intelligence. It has nothing to do with your GPA or how you did on your SATs, but it's a huge predictor of your success and happiness in life. We're talking about emotional intelligence and why it might just be the most important skill you never learned in school. All right, so let me ask you something. What really makes a person smart? I mean, for most of us, the first thing that comes to mind is probably the classic brainiac, right? The valedictorian, the person who just breezes through chemistry class. But is that the whole story? See, we usually split intelligence into these two big categories. You've got your book smarts on one side, the traditional academic genius, but then you've got street smarts. And this is the person who, maybe they didn't do so great in school, but in life, oh, they're killing it. They know everyone, they're at every party, and they just seem to make the right moves. What if the real secret sauce is connecting these two?
And that brings up this paradox that we see all the time. How can a brilliant lawyer, someone who aced the bar exam, have a personal life that's just a complete train wreck? Or a super smart politician whose entire career gets torpedoed by one single dumb decision? Clearly, there's a piece of this whole intelligence puzzle that's missing.
Well, that missing piece is called emotional intelligence, or EI for short, and it's pretty simple, really. It's the ability to know what you're feeling and manage it, and also to understand what other people are feeling and, well, influence those feelings too. It's the thing that bridges the gap between knowing the right answer on a test and actually doing the right thing in life.
So, what does this actually look like? Well, think about that person you know who just never seems to crack under pressure, or the one who can always explain exactly what they mean. They have a way of influencing people without being pushy, they get themselves motivated to do the hard stuff, and they just navigate tough situations with this grace. That's high EI in a nutshell. Okay, so theory's great, but let's make this really concrete. Let's take a look at emotional intelligence out in the wild, and you'll see just how massive the difference is between a low and a high EI approach.
So let's meet Claudio. He walks into the office and you can just feel the bad mood coming off of him in waves. He slams his stuff down on his desk, kind of grunts at his assistant, Jan, when she offers him coffee. He's basically a walking thundercloud, and he has no clue why.
Here's Claudio's problem. A bunch of bad things happened this morning. He argued with his wife, he had a near miss on the highway, but instead of seeing them as separate events, he's just rolled them all up into one giant, messy ball of anger. So he snaps at Jan for no reason, he can't get any work done, and he's pushing everyone away, thinking they're the issue. His bad day is becoming everyone's bad day. Okay, now let's rewind and play this back with a dose of emotional intelligence. Instead of that big angry mess, a high EI Claudio would first identify his feelings. Okay, I'm disappointed about my son, I'm mad at myself, and I'm frustrated about traffic. Then he'd contain them, deal with each one on its own. Next, he'd communicate. He'd just say to Jan, hey, sorry, I've had a rough morning, it's not you. And finally, he'd resolve to actually deal with the real problem, talking to his son, but later, when he's cooled off. See? Total crisis averted. And this example, this is just perfect. You've got two guys, Danny and Wilfred. They're in the exact same pickle. Their hotel is overbooked. Danny, our low EI guy, just loses it. He screams at the clerk, the one person who could possibly help him. He gets nothing. But then there's Wilfred. He uses his EI. He starts with empathy. Man, your job must be tough. He even cracks a joke. And what happens? The clerk bends over backward to find him an upgraded room. Same problem, wildly different outcomes. So yeah, this stuff is about more than just getting a better hotel room. You might be asking, okay, so why should I really care about this in the grand scheme of things? Well, let's talk about the actual tangible benefits of having a high EI. At work, the advantages are just massive. When you get a handle on your EI, you're way better at managing stress. That means you get along better with your coworkers, your boss, pretty much everyone. And that just naturally makes you more productive and a better person to have on the team. You become that person everybody wants to work with. And yup, it can actually affect your bank account. Studies have shown that people with high EI are just more in tune with what's going on at work. And because of that, they tend to get bigger pay raises. It's pretty simple. Being good with people literally pays off. But here's an idea that might just flip your whole perspective. We usually think that if we become successful, then we'll be happy. But the research actually shows it's the other way around. Happiness comes first. People with high EI tend to be happier. And that happiness actually becomes the foundation for success in everything. Your marriage, friendships, your health, your income, you name it.
Now, here is the absolute best part of this whole thing. This is not some fixed trait you're born with. Emotional intelligence is a skill. It's like a muscle, and you can absolutely make it stronger. Seriously, think of it like learning to play the guitar or getting better at a sport. You're not going to be a rock star or a pro on day one. But the more you practice with the right mindset, a learning mindset, the better you'll get. It's the exact same thing with managing your emotions.
So in the end, it really just comes down to a choice. You can keep going through life letting your emotions call all the shots, or you can decide that, you know what, this is important stuff, and you can start paying attention. And that's really the question I want to leave you with. You can even start super small. Like the next time you feel a big emotion bubble up, anger, frustration, whatever, just hit pause for 1 second and try to name it. That's it. That simple act is step one. So now that you know what emotional intelligence is and why it's so critical, which choice are you going to make?